Thanks everyone for signing in to our October 2020 Tableau user group meeting. My name is Andrea. I'm one of the co-leaders for the user group. If you haven't been to one of our meetings virtually or in person before, I believe this is our third virtual user meeting. So thanks again for joining. We have about an hour and a half of content planned. I'm going to do some quick overviews and introductions. One disclaimer I wanted to start with really quickly is that we are recording this meeting. So if there's anything that you don't want to be recorded or shown, then please don't say or show anything you wouldn't be comfortable with being recorded. That being said, everyone is on mute right now. If you have any non-urgent questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Otherwise, we will be asking for your verbal participation as we move through the meeting. And yeah, I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and jump right in. Let me move this to an actual, oops. There we go. Okay, great. So for those of you who were able to, while you were waiting for everyone to sign in, fill out the SurveyMonkey. If you've already done it in the past, thanks so much. We are kind of bringing this back since we will be virtual for the foreseeable future, possibly coming up with even a new survey that's more relevant to this format. But in the meantime, your answers for this survey would be super helpful. As I mentioned, we are moving to a new webinar format. So that means that we have enabled all participants to be able to speak, whereas before we had in more of a panelist format. So everyone was on mute and we had kind of the Q&A option. Since we're not sure exactly when we'll be able to get back to meeting in person and or having everyone meet in person, and for everyone's to respect everyone's concerns, we're trying to move these meetings to feel more like in-person meetings, which would include group participation. I think that not being able to hear from you all has been a detriment. So we're going to try to work that in as much as we can. That being said, we always welcome feedback on the new format. One caveat to using this new format is we do have to cap the capacity to the meetings to try to make sure that we don't have too many people speaking at once. And so if you do get waitlisted for a future meeting, just know that if we have an extremely long wait list in the future, we might just repeat a meeting, or we will try to host more meetings kind of closer together to get everyone involved without overwhelming the meeting with participants. So thanks for your patience while we figure out this new kind of structure and how it works for our group. Sorry, hold on, I lost my mouse over here. Okay, so we'll do quick introductions. My name is Andrea, as I mentioned. I'm one of the co-leaders for the Baltimore user group. I also have on the line my fellow co-leaders, Ryan and Prem. Let's have Ryan, do you want to go first and introduce yourself, and then we'll have Prem say some just super quick before I get to these notes.
Hi everyone, I'm Ryan Kreisberg. I work for the Maryland Department of Health as an epidemiologist, working on contact tracing, and been a co-host with Andrea and Prem for a few months now.
Thanks, Ryan.
All right, yep, thanks Andrea, thanks Ryan. Hello everyone, yep, I'm Prem. I'm heading the BI practice at Blend 360. We are based out of Columbia, Maryland. I've been in the BI space for 15 years, and I've seen Tableau growing in the last 7-8 years, and associated with the Baltimore user group for quite some time now. Yeah, just to add to what Andrea said, like we purposefully made sure this is a small group event. If you remember, or if you have attended the previous virtual user group event, it was done as a regional one. Here we decided to just keep it as Baltimore. So we encourage you stepping in and coming up with questions or any kind of discussions that you would like to have. So yeah, We have time allocated for it, so please think about it and come up with your questions. Back to you, Andrea.
Perfect. Thanks, guys. So now you all have met, if you hadn't previously, all of the co-leaders for the Baltimore user group. A couple of other, in case you want to know anything about me, if you haven't, if you're not familiar with me just yet, I've been leading the Baltimore user group for 4 years now. I honestly don't know, years. And it's been such a pleasure. I've recently been able to add Prim and Ryan. It's been so great to be able to share that responsibility and have some people to bounce ideas off of, so that we can get more meetings on the books, some better meetings on the books. So I really appreciate them joining the team, and everything's been going so great. I also just want to give a quick shout out to the Tableau team, who has worked really hard to allow the user groups to continue to meet, including setting up these Zoom meetings for us and helping us coordinate all of that, because it's definitely been a change for them. And I know that us not being able to have these meetings would be quite different. So we really appreciate their help there. Regarding the meetings, as I mentioned, if you fill out the surveys, that's the best way to have input on the meetings. You're more than welcome to email any of us individually as well with feedback. We definitely take it into account basically as quickly as we can incorporate it. We commonly have speakers who are either vendors or just people who volunteer their time. Everyone who is a leader or a speaker is volunteering their time 100%. No one here is paid by Tableau except for Alyssa, who had to jump off the meeting to actually start another Zoom meeting at the same time. So all of your leaders are volunteer-based, all your speakers are volunteer-based. So if you can just show your appreciation or thanks by actually saying so, and also connecting on LinkedIn, I think is one of the best ways to be in touch with everyone, in addition to our community page, which Ryan will touch on later in the meeting. And then, of course, if you're willing to help out in any capacity, whether it's speaking or helping organize, etc., please let us know. Just a quick overview of the agenda. Our introductions we're doing now. We'll go through a Tableau Public presentation. We'll do a game with some prizes that's kind of trivia based about Tableau, etc. I'll go over some of the latest Tableau releases. If you've been to our meetings before, this used to be a very regular component where I go over a handful of things where I kind of give regular updates. We have more recently cut that out since these meetings we got feedback were too long for online format, because we used to do a couple hours, which is just way too long. Everyone agreed for an online meeting, but we will jump back into that for this particular meeting, and then hopefully you won't have to listen to me talk quite as much for the next meeting. We'll jump on the community board, as I mentioned, for a bit, and then we will wrap everything up, hopefully relatively on time. If you need to jump early, feel free to do so, and we can connect before or after. As I mentioned, we're going to be recording this session, and we will post that recording on the community board once it's available from Tableau. So if you missed the last couple of minutes or the beginning, feel free to check there. Quick update on our next meeting. We are planning it tentatively for December. Don't have a specific date yet. The topic that we've identified is the Tableau conference-ish. It will be another Zoom meeting probably, a little TBD on that as well. And as you can see, we need speakers. So as you can see, we need speakers for this meeting. So if you are someone who attended or will be reviewing some of the Tableau conference recordings, we need speakers. So please let us know if there are any topics you'd be willing to cover. It literally could just be you summarizing and representing an entire presentation that you attended. That's totally fair. If you have anything outside the scope of the Tableau conference you'd like to present on, we'd be happy to have you speak in our meetings for 2021. So you can still reach out and we'll queue you for then. Again, we need speakers for our next meeting for December 2020. Please volunteer. Otherwise, be able to have a meeting if we don't have enough speakers. And I think our last, so my last slide for now before I pass it along. We did have a post on the community board that we were hoping to have our members or attendees possibly post some questions too, so that we could kind of dynamically answer them for the group during the meeting. It doesn't appear there were any questions submitted so far. And so in lieu of those questions, I wanted to propose an interactive kind of question where we were hoping you all would jump off of mute and we could go back to kind of that interactive sharing mode that we have in our in-person meetings where we all can chime in and learn from each other. And so my topic that I wanted to propose now, so you could think about it a little bit while we work towards talking about that feedback at the end of the meeting, is to just discuss how the switch to remote work has impacted your use of Tableau and data visualization for you, or its role in your organization. And then also just sharing with the group anything that new that you've been doing that's proven to be helpful, specific to this whole remote work life. Again, I know that us being able to talk with each other, besides just the speakers presenting, is a really valuable part of these meetings. So we're trying to slowly incorporate that back into the meetings. That being said, while we are presenting, if you all have anything you think is valuable, let's try out coming off mute the same way you would if we were in an actual meeting, and chiming in. There's I guess few enough of us. There's about 20 people on this call, so I want you to feel empowered to jump in and say something, so we can kind of get back, what little sense of normalcy we can during these meetings, and appreciate your patience while we figure out exactly what that looks like. And I think now, I didn't memorize our agenda. I'll pass it along to Prem to introduce our first speaker.
Thanks, Andrea. Hope you can hear me. All right, so we have Taimoor Malik, who is going to talk about his Tableau journey. He's doing his master's at Temple University. I'll let him talk about his background and career and so on. But he works as an intern at Blend 360 right now. And he has been with us for almost 4 to 5 months. And maybe, Andrea, the question you had resonate very well with him, like working remote or this COVID time period. I would say like Taimoor really mastered Tableau. The lack of outdoor activities and limited outdoor activities, he was able to focus more time on Tableau. And I think he did a lot of good things. I'll let him talk about his profile. I think he can be a good example where if you're really interested in Tableau and it's something that you came across recently, and is it something that you can learn quickly? I think Taimoor's presentation could be an inspiration for you. It is something that he learned very quickly and he mastered it, is what I would say. So with that note, Taimoor, thank you again for accepting our request to speak today. Appreciate it. I'll turn this to you.
Yep. Thank you so much, Prem. Thank you for having me, and I'm really excited for what we have today. Okay, so I will start off with a brief introduction. I'm Taimoor Malik, and I live in Philadelphia Center City, which I think is the second best city in the US. I will let you guys choose your first one. As Prem said, I am working as a data science intern at Blend 360. We do a lot of Tableau work, and not just Tableau dashboarding. We have been doing a lot of performance tuning and automation with Tableau, and it's been an incredible time with Blend 360 for the last 5 months. Apart from that, I'm also doing my master's in business analytics from Temple University. Well, it really is a university of Zoom now, because we've been studying on Zoom for about, last 7-8 months, but it is what it is. And I will be graduating in December 2020, which is like 2 months from now. And I cannot wait. I just cannot wait for it. Apart from that, I'm also part of the Philadelphia Tableau User Group Leadership Committee. And I will just sell my tag here. We are planning to have our next meeting sometime in November, probably before the Thanksgiving. And it will be great if any one of you can join us. Okay, so what are we here for today? So I will be telling you about my Tableau journey and how I made my Tableau Public portfolio, and how my Tableau Public portfolio actually helped me get this internship, and how I'm making a career out of Tableau. Okay, so if I go back a year, I started using Tableau a year ago, actually October 2019. and I took this data visualization course as part of my course. And the day I started using Tableau, I knew that this was something that I wanted to do. And it was not easy at the start because Tableau is very intuitive, but still it takes maybe some time to really get the depth of it. So I took this course from Josh Tapley, who is the leader of the Philadelphia Tableau user group. And that's when I started my Tableau journey. So I will take you back. So I will take a year back now. So before started using Tableau, I worked as a business development engineer. And most of the time, what I would do is I would write these Python scripts and SQL kind of stuff. And at some point, I had to make those reports. I didn't used to make reports all the time, but sometimes I had to make reports. And as you know, we have to make some bar graphs and stuff. So this is the most that I could do. This was like my data visualization 2 years ago or a year ago. And if I wanted to do something out of the box or really creative, I would do something like this. But don't do this, guys. This is really not the best visualization practice. But when you don't know there is a tool like Tableau, you might as well do something like this just to do something out of the box. But it is what it is. So after starting my Tableau class or data visualization class, Josh is a very ardent believer of the fact that everyone who uses Tableau needs to have a Tableau Public portfolio, because you really can use your Tableau Public portfolio to sell yourself or really demonstrate your skill. So my first wave, which I think was maybe 10 days after I started using Tableau, looked something like this. It is still on my Tableau Public. I know there are like tons of stuff I can probably improve in this, but I'm still very proud of this. And I am not going to delete this because I will quote Andy Crable here. You really need to show the progress that you have made, right? And if I keep all the good stuff on my Tableau Public, my employer would probably not know that how much of a progress or improvement that I have made along the career. So the first takeaway is that keep everything on your Tableau Public, no matter how bad it is. I know this is really bad because I have already selected this and I uploaded it like this, but I'm still proud of it because it really shows you where I started from. Okay, so 2 months after I started using Tableau, this is what I developed. And I think this was a Makeover Monday challenge where I sort of analyzed Las Vegas convention attendance. It's a pretty simple dual axis area chart with some sets to identify these drops, and added some annotations to add a bit of a context to this part. But you can see the progress that I made in 2 months, right? This is after 10 days of using Tableau. This is after 2 months of using Tableau. And after 4 months, this was actually my Tableau. This was actually my final class project, if you will. I'm really not super proud of this, but I think that I made a good progress in 4 months in terms of telling a story with data. It looks a bit cluttered and I can improve a few things on this, but I'm still proud of this. After 5 months, this is what I made. And I am super proud of this because I'm a big fan of tennis and I've played professional tennis, as a matter of fact. And I'm a big fan of Rafael Nadal. And I wanted to do data visualization on topics that I was passionate about. So I scraped some data from a couple of websites and I made this visualization after 5 months. Now, what worked best for me? Like I showed you my Tableau Public profile and the work that I've done, but how is it useful for you? So I will tell you what worked best for me in terms of learning Tableau as a tool, and how you can probably, if you're new to Tableau, you can probably do the same thing as I did. Probably that might help you. So first up, Josh really helped me. He set the base for me, and he really taught me what are the best visualization practices. And it was, I think, a really good platform for me to jump off. Then I started doing these Makeover Mondays. For those of you who don't know, Makeover Monday is a community challenge, a weekly challenge that's run by Charlie and Eva Murray. And what they do is every week they give out a very clean data set and a visualization for you to make over. And that's really a good practice that you can do. So for the first 6 months, I used to do Makeover Mondays every week, and it really helps you build your design skills, if you will, maybe not analytical, but in terms of design, it really helps you. The third thing that helped me was I took a lot of inspiration from the Tableau community. Like people do incredible stuff in Tableau community, and like I'm working now, but I still look at what people do in the community just so I can, sort of take inspiration from what people are doing in the community. But one thing that you should be aware of, that when you take inspiration, make sure that you credit the original author. So for example, when I created this, this Wiz, the design inspiration came from Mira, okay, I don't want to butcher this name, but you get the idea. Just give the credit whoever you're getting the inspiration from. All right, so that was 6 months. 6 months after I started using Tableau. That's what I used to do. But after 6 months, I realized that, hey, do I really want to go that way? Because honestly, if you look at this is not a lot of analytical work. This is more like infographics. And me coming from an engineering background, I wanted to do something analytical, right? So I didn't want to be making these infographics and that kind of stuff. So what I did after 6 months was that I started doing these Workout Wednesday challenges. Again, Workout Wednesday is a community challenge that's run by 3 Tableau Zen Masters, Luke Stunk, Lorna Brown, and Jackson. They are real world challenges. Some of the challenges are really tough, but I think it's really worth trying because you really get to learn the Tableau from these challenges. When I started doing these Workout Wednesday challenges, it took me about maybe 7-8 hours to, sort of solve one of the challenge. And I would have to, still look at the solution and then solve it. But this is how you really start, because these challenges are not really simple. But once you get to know the basics of Tableau, I would probably recommend transferring to Workout Wednesdays, because I have learned a lot from Workout Wednesday. Like 70% of the knowledge that I have of Tableau, I probably learned it from Workout Wednesday. And Workout Wednesday might look something similar to what you do at work. If you really want to do something that's not really like work, what you can do is you can whiz on topics that you are passionate about. So I will show you some of the visualizations that I made as a part of, like I just made them as a part of my passion. And the first one that I did was this arrest made in Philadelphia. And the genesis of this dashboard was like, I was trying to move 6 months ago, maybe, and I was trying to move to a place that was very secure. And I thought, let's just make this dashboard. And you can literally type in your zip code and it will tell you like, what is the crime rate in that area and what is it ranked in Philadelphia. The second ways that I made, like this is again, something that I was passionate about. I love reading. And this is what I read, I think in about 3 months, like from April to July, I read about 18 books. I collected my data and I made this whiz out of it. So this is something that I did because I was just passionate about these stuff. So my first Workout Wednesday challenge, let me just talk a little about it. So this is the first Workout Wednesday challenge I did. I think this challenge was from a guest speaker, Zach Powders, who is an incredible Tableau author as well. And this took me about 4 hours, if you will, but this was a very simple challenge. Like if I were to do it now, I'd probably do it in 30, 40 minutes, but this is how I started. And at times it gets really frustrating. And when you're doing these Workout Wednesday, you probably give up, but that's how we learn. I had to spend literally 6-7 hours on some of the challenges. I still couldn't solve it. I had to look at the solutions, but that's how I learned. And this is my Tableau Public portfolio now. You can see that most of the work that I've done is relevant to Workout Wednesday. There are about 1, 2, 3, 4 infographics you can see on my top of the page, but the rest of these are Workout Wednesday. I try to solve every single workout Wednesdays. Some of them I don't post it on my Tableau Public portfolio because I don't complete it. Like when I figure out the solution, I don't do it because sometimes I find it hard to take out time for it, but I know the solution for each weekly challenge. Moving on, that's a lot. I've talked a lot about my Tableau journey, and you might have taken few points out of it, but I just want to give you 2 quick Tableau tips, like some of my favorite tips. So first up is if you want to turn on the grid lines on your dashboard, you just have to press G and you get the grid lines on your dashboard. If you press T, you can toggle between dashboard and layout. And while we are at it, the tooltips are disaster here. What I would do when I started is I would go to the sheet and edit the tooltip, but you can also edit the tooltip from your dashboard. And these are 3 of my favorite tips. And that's all I have. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you can ask me right now. And if you're like introvert like me, you can reach out to me at Twitter or LinkedIn. And that's about it.
All right, great, Taimoor. Great presentation. Definitely, it looks like a journey for you. So I have a question for you. And of course, attendees, if you have any question, please feel free to unmute yourself or post it on the chat window. So Taimoor, you learned it like just on your own using Workout Wednesdays, Makeover Mondays, and probably you got the infographic skills as well as the technical side of it before you took the internship. But how was it when you did the internship? Like probably you got exposed to the real enterprise or business dashboards, right? Was it a smooth transition, or what's your thought? Especially if it is something new for you, learning on your own, not as part of your work, and now you try to apply it at work.
Yeah, the first thing that I noticed when I started was that you really don't get the data that you get at Makeover Mondays and Workout Wednesdays. So you really have to shape that data, So it's not as easy. Like data cleaning, data mapping kind of stuff is like 70% of data visualization. And that's the first thing that I realized, that, hey, I really need to get at this, ETL process and data transformations and stuff. But to be very honest, most of the work that I do at my job, I learned that through Workout Wednesdays. And I have to give like all of the credit, if not like 70, like if not all of the credit, probably 70 to 80% of the credit of what I know goes to the Workout Wednesday challenges. And I feel that if you do Workout Wednesday challenges, like you can probably solve all the challenges that you get at work. And yeah, that's it.
Got it. Okay. Thanks. That's great. How about other tools? Like, of course, it's Tableau desktop. You're familiar with that. Are you exposed to other platforms that's available within Tableau, be it Tableau Prep or expertise in? Yep.
Yeah. So when I started this internship, I felt that I needed to learn something that will help me, transform data as well. I already knew Python, but Python is something that's not a Tableau product. It's obviously an open source, but I wanted to learn Tableau Prep. So right after I joined this internship, I started doing these data prep weekly challenges as well. So if you are interested and if you want to really learn about data transformation as well, I think the best way you can do is using Tableau Prep, because it comes with Tableau Desktop. And if you want to get started with it, there's a very good community challenge that goes by Data Prep, something like that. You can just Google it, you will find it. And I think that it allows you to really get like really good understanding of how Tableau Prep works and how you can actually shape the data you want for Tableau Desktop. So that was one thing that I learned after I started internship, because I feel that 70% of data visualization is data transformation, because if the data is not in a proper shape, you cannot really visualize it.
Got it. Okay. Any questions from any of the attendees? All right, we'll take the silences now. Thanks, Taimoor. Thanks again for your time.
Yep, thank you so much for having me, guys. Bye.
All right, so I think the next one is the trivia, if I'm not wrong. I think Viraj.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so Viraj will be running it. So Viraj, I'll turn this to you.
Sure. I'll just share my screen. I'll wait for your cue to know that you guys can see it.
So just so everyone knows, this will be interactive trivia. We also have some gift cards that we'll be giving out to the winners of Tableau Trivia. In case you're worried that you're not going to do well, just know that I normally end up somewhere in the middle of the scoreboard, so don't be scared or discouraged. This is intended to be a fun learning experience, and the more participation we can get, the better.
Yep. I hope you guys can see my screen.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, we're good.
So I'll begin with a brief introduction. I'm Viraj Deshpande. I'm a BI analyst at Blend 360. I work alongside Prem. This is my second time hosting the Tableau Trivia, so I'll call myself the quiz master here. So for you guys to join, you can visit this link on your mobile device or your laptops, which is called menti.com. And then you'll be prompted to put in a code. Just add this code and you'll be added to the waiting area, and you'll see this screen on your this screen that I'm presenting as the screen that marks the beginning of the quiz. Just a few notes before we begin. I would highly recommend you guys to toggle between this screen that I'm sharing and your mobile device so that you can keep a track of the leaderboard, and at the same time you can answer the questions seamlessly. With that, I will move on to the next slide.
You should probably give like 30 seconds for the participants to
I've also entered the website and the code into the chat box for anyone who is still joining. And then once you join, your screen will have a little, you'll know you've joined. There will be a couple of bullets that will pop up on the screen, as followed by a little heart button, which you can press at any time for any reason, as much as you want. And as you can see on the screen, I'm showing you an example. It will pop up. I don't know why this happens, but I think it's super fun. So everyone give it a try and click it whenever you want. I just think it's a fun way to be interactive for really no good reason.
And Ryan, are you in? I see Ryan. I know you usually carry a few cell phones, Ryan. I don't know if you're just using one phone.
I'm using 3. I'm going to win.
All right. So I'll just walk everyone through a few pointers while we wait for everybody to get in and be ready for the quiz. So we'll have 10 questions in all related to Tableau and data visualization in general. You'll get 20 seconds each for reading the question and answering them. Here on Menti, we follow the concept of fastest fingers first, meaning the faster you answer, the higher points you get. And like Andrea mentioned, the top 2 participants in the leaderboard win gift certificates, and you can buy your favorite Tableau swag then on the e-store. Another thing is, for the people who didn't join us in the past couple of iterations of the Tableau user group, we've been having this for a long time. However, we have 2 prep questions, sample questions for you guys to get acquainted to the whole interface of menti.com. These 2 questions are just for are just going to be used as a sample purpose, won't be marked. However, I again urge you guys to answer them to the best of your abilities, because they help us get to know our audience even better. So with that, I'll move on to the next screen. Oh, so we have a bunch of people here already.
So at this point, also, everyone will probably be prompted to enter your name onto your menti.com screen. So that's where you can start, and then click Join Quiz.
All right, I think we're good to go ahead. And with that, I'll begin the quiz. So here's your first question, just confirming that this is a sample question, and you can answer it using your phones.
You'll also notice that you have a little icon on your screen. That icon is kind of like your Bitmoji. So as we go through the questions, you'll see your little icon pop up when we kind of compare answers.
I like
We
the
have
How was I
everybody
the
who
only
assisted.
one that clicked it depends on the snacks?
I'm
Yeah.
surprised.
Come on.
I was hoping a lot more, but then, yeah, I'm glad that many people would like to attend in person. Let's move on to the next one. Again, a sample question, and you'll be seeing it on your screen now. All right, so everybody's answering pretty quickly, so I think we're good. All right.
We're submitting your answers to the FDA. I'm just kidding, we're not.
All right. Okay, so now brace yourselves. We're entering the main questions. You have 10 questions to make sure you win the prize. Let's get started. That's the first question. All right. So this was one offering that was showcased at Tableau Conference 2020. It garnered a lot of attention. It was earlier available as Einstein Analytics under Salesforce, but now it's being offered as an augmented analytics offering with Tableau. All right, let's move on to the next one. And this is how the leaderboard looks like for the first question. Too soon to call who's in the lead, but keep track of this. All right, here's question number 2. All right. Pretty straightforward question. I'm sure a lot of you use this on a daily basis. So not much explanation around this, but always helpful to look at the leaderboard again. Like I said, we have standings changing pretty quickly. That's good to see. Let's move on to the next one.
I clicked too fast and I clicked the wrong answer as a disclaimer.
Oh, I'm surprised. I didn't think that a lot of people would get this right, but then I'm glad. Here's a quick preview of how the XML file looks. And the answer, like you know, is all of the above, wherein all of the information is included. Let's see the leaderboard. Oops, no leaderboard here. Suspense building, I guess. Oof, that's a good split. Nice. So this was a feature that was introduced in a version 3, that's 2020.3, alongside a bunch of other offerings, which I will not disclose because our next question happens to be around them.
If I get this question wrong, that's going to be really embarrassing. But I'm not going to tell you guys if I get it wrong.
All right. So I twisted this one, but here are the leaders. Ooh. Andrea is coming up. That's nice.
This is better than I normally do. I'm very proud of myself. It only took a couple years.
With this, let's take a quick look on the new features added in version 2020.3. The in operator that a lot of people around are using in the calculated fields, predictive modeling functions, along with data quality warnings, which come in really handy to all the Tableau users. All right, let's move on to the next one. Pretty sure we've passed the halfway mark. So brace yourselves for this one. So this question will have three options. I'll walk you through images with all the submissions that were submitted for INVIS top 3 selections. I would recommend that you note down the name you think that won the INVIS at the Tableau Conference 2020, because when you'll be shown the options, the images won't follow. You'll be only able to select the name of the dashboard. This is the first one. I'll hold on for a couple of seconds. Let's
The next
go on.
So the options will have the dashboard name, the air we breathe.
Okay. Yeah, it'll have the air we breathe. This one's called Take My Breath Away. And the last one here is called Would You Live There? With this, I'll move on to the question where you'll have three options and you select what you think is the right one. Nice. It's great to see a lot of you got it right. That's nice. All right, let's move on. This is the one created by Christian Felix, a really beautiful visualization that won the INVIS this year. All right. Standings changing pretty quickly again. Love to see this competition up top. Nice. Cool. Let's move on to the next one.
And it looks like you did not follow TC20.
I failed that question. That was my second choice, though.
Question more around the visualization. So we had two answers that were correct. And if you chose either of them, you'll get the relevant points for them. So like the answer said, it's usually better if we go with a box plot or a histogram. Read the board again. All right. Some good competition in the top 4 or 5 participants. That's really great. It's anybody's game. So answer as quickly as you can. All right. I'm pretty sure a lot of you must be familiar with the viz on the right of your screen. Most famously, that was presented by Hans Rosling, who's known to kindle this interest in data visualizations for a lot of data viz artists out there. So the answer was scatter plot and the bubble plot, as you can see on your screen. Last two questions to go. Before that, let's check the leaderboard. Okay. The competition intensifies.
Before you press next, Viraj. So Ryan, is it you, the one at the fourth position?
That's me.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Maybe for everybody's benefit, Ryan and Andrea were not informed about these questions. You're participating and they had no clue about.
I normally never do this good. I already gave the disclaimer. I'm probably going to ruin on these last two questions.
Yeah, but you guys are doing good. Just for everybody's awareness, they were not aware of it. It was just done by Viraj and my team. So it's new.
We also are disqualified for the gift cards, so they're still up for grabs.
Right. Let's move on. Oh, quite a split audience on this, but let's see a good use of it. Sankey, which is one of the most intriguing visual, and that's my personal opinion. So that's usually the best one to show customer migration in Tableau in using an infographic like you see on your screen right now. Leaderboard. A lot of positions changed in this one. So
come on,
next
Ryan,
up,
come on, Andrea, go.
Next up
Aaron
is the last question of this quiz. Still anybody's game, so make sure you answer as fast as you can. With that, let's hit the last question.
I think I'm doomed. But I tried. I didn't know any of the visualizations in the last question, so that was a total guess. I wish I got to do fun things like that.
Ooh. Moving on to the moment of truth, the leaderboard. Oh my God, none of our leaders answered it.
It was anybody's game, you said it.
Yes. All right.
All right. Aaron,
Just
congrats.
Congratulations,
Good.
Aaron. Yeah, I would just like to confirm how would the winners connect with the tag leaders?
I will
claim the
put my
prizes?
email in the chat. So the two winners, Aaron and Steph, got second place. If you can reach out to me, I'll send you your gift cards.
All right.
Aaron really earned it. He was very fast to many questions, the fastest. I never get that. Nope.
Definitely. A quick call out. We have a webinar coming up on November 19th, where we talk about dashboard genesis to delivery in under 4 days, lessons in teamwork and excellence. This is more in line with a recent dashboard that we had developed just before the Tableau Conference 2020. It was a really fun experience, and we would love it if you guys join us so that we could walk you through our thought process and the whole, we like to call it a whole life cycle that a dashboard development goes through. So it would be great if you guys join us for a webinar. I'll be posting the link for registering for this webinar in the chat section. The registrations are open already, so make sure you book your spots. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Viraj. Hope everyone enjoyed the trivia. This is something that we try to do every time. I think it's turning out to be something that's interesting. If you have any suggestions, feedback, the questions, or the topics, feel free to send it our way. I think with that, we are done with the second topic for today. Andrea, should I be turning this to you now?
Yes, we'll move on to our release notes. I do want to take a moment just to pause since we have the ability to actually hear from you all during this meeting. If anyone would like to come off of mute, ask any questions, give any feedback, now is a great time before I get into my review of the release notes.
It'll be great even if someone can confirm that they can unmute. Yeah.
Someone want to just test it out for us?
Yeah, it's just the panelists who are talking.
I can unmute.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, Holly.
Thank you, Holly. One person at a time will have some participation. Okay. I will go ahead and run through the release notes then if nobody has any questions at the moment. Just as a disclaimer for the release notes, I do not personally work on the latest versions of Tableau ever because of how, which I totally forgot. I didn't even tell you guys what I do for those of you who don't know me. So I am a marketing analyst for R2 Integrated, which means that I spend a lot of time taking marketing data and visualizing it into dashboards that are somewhat templated. So I'm pretty restricted in terms of what I can do in terms of how creative I can be, which is part of why this group is so important to me. I get to see what you all can do and how you can stretch your minds and how all the different ways that you're using Tableau. I'm definitely rather boxed in, and I appreciate you all sharing with me. That being said, I've not personally actually been able to use any of these newly released features. So this would be a great time also if you have used any of these features and you have any feedback to unmute, jump in and let us know what you think, positive or negative. We don't work for Tableau, so I don't take any offense if you don't like a new feature or it doesn't work well. If you run into issues, this is a great place to share with the community so we all know we can all get a heads up from you or, avoid the problems. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we can start from our current slide. So we're going to be reviewing Tableau 2020.3, which is the latest release. As I mentioned, I used to do this every meeting, but because we've moved to the shorter format, we don't do it every meeting anymore. But I will, when I move forward to the next slide. Typically, I mostly cover desktop-related release notes because the majority of our user group members focus on the desktop tool, even if they use other tools. Nearly everyone is on the desktop, and also that's what I work with the most, so that's what we focus on. If you would like to present on a different part of the tool, or if you have a specific interest, we can create a sub-user group from the Baltimore user group. For example, if you want to start running a Tableau server user group for the Baltimore area, please reach out. We'd be more than happy to help you set that up. At the link at the bottom of the screen is also where you can find any other new features for non-desktop or any overlapping features. So that's the /products/new-features. The latest release will always be at that link, so you can always save it as a favorite and check on it whenever you're interested in what's going on. That being said, I'm going to actually, I guess what you could call cheat a little bit, and I will have us walk through the video from Tableau where they quickly walk through some of the top new release features, and then I've pulled out a couple in particular that I have some notes on. So we're going to go ahead and listen to what James has to say. Some of these features are not features that I'm familiar with or would know how to explain, and so that's why I'm going to let him walk you through some of them, and I'll address the ones that I can provide some additional information on.
Step 3 is here with over 30 enhancements to help scale your analytics, making trusted data more accessible to everyone. Key new features include the ability to write to external databases from within Tableau Prep, and the ability to automatically grant licenses to users signed.
Andrea, I think you muted it.
Authoring, augmented analytics,
Let me run it back.
consuming, or Tableau Online. We'll explore the enhancements by functionality, data preparation, deployment, connecting to data, data modeling, authoring, augmented analytics, consuming, data management, and developer tools. Let's get started.
He does not go through every single new update. He just goes through some highlights. So don't feel like this is going to be a super overwhelming piece of information in the next 11 minutes.
From within Tableau Prep Builder, write prepared data to databases in the cloud or on-premises to leverage your existing database and governance investments and manage trusted data at scale. First, select an output step. Set the output file to be a database table. Specify your database server and credentials. Select a database and database table. Choose whether to create a new table, append to an existing table, or replace data in an existing table. In this example, we'll create a new table. On the right, we see the mapping of our fields. When we run our flow, the data is then written to the external database we specified. We've made it easier to extend the value of Tableau to more users. Site administrators can now automatically grant a license and a role to a group of users upon each user's first login to Tableau Online or Tableau Server. This group contains 2 unlicensed users. We'll set the group to grant role on sign-in and set the minimum site role as an explorer who can publish. Now, when one of those users logs in for the very first time, they are automatically assigned a license and granted the minimum site role we specified. To ensure a smooth installation and upgrade experience, Tableau Server now automatically performs a set of checks as you start the initialization or upgrade process. These checks are designed to detect common errors and issues around permissions, credentials, and base ports that can arise during upgrade and install. You can also perform this check at any time with the TSM command. Today this capability is for Windows, but we are working to bring it to Linux soon. For our SAP HANA connector, you now have the ability to connect to table functions, stored procedures that return a table. We have also achieved official SAP certification, HANA BI SQL 2.0, for integration with SAP HANA on Tableau Desktop, Prep, Server, and Online. Also check out the new Tableau and S4HANA Analytics whitepaper for guidance and best practices around S4HANA integration and how to optimize the experience of using Tableau and S4HANA together for analytics. Tableau Bridge automatically detects and notifies you when there's a newer version of Tableau Bridge available to help you stay up to date on the latest Bridge features. Additionally, with Tableau Bridge, you can easily connect live data or build extracts for AWS, Redshift, Snowflake, and other cloud data sources in a virtual private cloud. We also have new connectors in the extension gallery, provide support for Google BigQuery numeric types, and enable you to connect to Presto in web authoring. Relationships now provide an improved drag-and-drop experience. Additionally, we can now relate tables based on custom calculated fields and inequality operators. In this example, the employee sales table shows the monthly sales amounts for employee number 1. When we look at the employee table, we see that employee number 1 has switched sales teams each quarter from team A to B to C, based on the start date and end date columns. If we relate these two tables based solely on employee ID, then in our viz, our sales amounts for this employee will be repeated erroneously for each team they were on. To correct this, we'll use the new relationship inequality operators to implement slowly changing dimensions. We'll specify that the month of the sales must be greater than or equal to the start date on the team, and also less than or equal to the end date on the team. Now, our viz correctly allocates the sales to each team the employee was on. When creating calculations, you can now use the in operator to test whether a specified value matches any value in a list of comma-separated values, a set, or combined fields. In this calculation, we're looking for subcategory values in the list of values, accessories, and appliances. We then use this calculation within our viz. The in operator supports string, numeric, date, and Boolean data types.
So that was one of the features that Viraj had mentioned in the trivia questions.
Two new predictive modeling functions go beyond Tableau's existing trendline analytical function to build a model that understands how your data is distributed around a best fit line. Model quantile is a table calculation that returns a target value at a specified percentile based on other predictors. Model percentile is a table calculation that returns the probability of the expected value being less than or equal to the observed mark based on other predictors. Analyzing spatial data just got easier. You can now union two or more tables containing spatial field types. Our first table contains data for the state of Washington. Let's union that with a table containing data from the state of California. It's that simple. You can also union geographic events from different periods of time. The ability to add third-party map services such as Mapbox Maps and WMS Maps is now available directly in the Background Maps menu. Here, I'm adding a basic style from my Mapbox.com account. The Manage Maps menu item also has an updated user interface for more easily adding and managing your external map connections. Use filters in the data pane to refine your search and find the right field you need for analysis. Search and filter based on field name, type, or comments. You can now create, edit, or remove data source or viz filters in a browser. We can let go of the mouse, since relative date filters are now fully keyboard and screen reader accessible, enabling more relevant and complete analysis. Use the Tab key, spacebar, arrow keys, Enter button, and screen reader commands to complete your filtering in Tableau Server and Tableau Online. Context filters can now control the list of values displayed by the set control in a dashboard, allowing end users to select from the most relevant values to power their analysis.
That's one of the features I'll be going over as well.
Make your data even more approachable with new improvements to Ask Data's suggested questions. Customize the suggestions and add display text so they appear in colloquial language that your users are more accustomed to. Additionally, we've added refinement support for absolute date filters, and Tableau Online users can now access onboarding and curation resources directly from the product. Explain Data can now consider fields from multiple logical tables that are connected via relationships. Choose fields for Explain Data to consider. Select a mark of interest. Launch Explain Data using the tooltip icon or context menu. Examine the possible explanations for the selected mark. Quickly access projects, workbooks, and dashboards that others have shared with you on Tableau Server or Tableau Online all in one place via the Shared With Me tab on the Home menu. Customized views are automatically saved separately so that you can quickly navigate to the personalized view you need. From within Tableau Server and Tableau Online, you now have the option to download crosstabs in Excel format, preserving consistent number and cell formatting. This functionality is also available within the Download Button dashboard object.
I believe that's something I'm going over as well. I can't remember exactly which ones I chose.
You can now customize the page orientation and page size of your PDF subscriptions to better format how your dashboards are displayed. You can also set an email subscription to run when the underlying data extract refreshes. This makes it easy to get the latest data out as soon as it's available. Tableau Mobile for BlackBerry is a new app that provides a quick and secure way to view, analyze, and leverage the data in your organization. Tableau Mobile for Workspace ONE is an update to the existing app compatible with iOS 13. Both apps include a newer design that is faster and more intuitive, an improved search and browsing experience consistent with Tableau Server and Tableau Online, as well as enhanced offline capabilities that are quick to load and offer richness and interactivity for visualizations. You can now tag stale content directly from the Stale Content admin view for easy follow-up with content owners. In this example, any content older than 45 days is considered stale. We select the content and then tag it as stale. To confirm that the tag has been applied, we can navigate to the content on the server and then check its tags. See every asset in your environment via external assets, including files and tables that are embedded in workbooks. This provides a holistic view of the data users are leveraging outside of published data or content. Make it even easier to find the right data by tagging external assets, including databases, tables, and columns. Keep users informed of data quality warnings while they're performing their analysis in Tableau Desktop. With a quick indicator on the data source, users get the information they need about the state of the data. We've added a couple of new
That's also something I'll be going over in just a moment.
JavaScript APIs. Please see the New Features Hub for more information. When you generate a PNG or PDF of a dashboard that you're viewing in Tableau Desktop, it will now render the extension zone's image. To learn more about Tableau 2020.3, please visit our New Feature Hub, take our New Feature Spotlight e-learning course, or visit our Tableau help pages. Thanks for watching.
So typically we can also request to have someone from Tableau actually do this presentation for us. Luckily for this release, they have this recording preset, so I didn't have to specifically request a Tableau representative to do it for us. Not quite as interactive with them, but nevertheless, definitely a quick walkthrough of some of the newest feature releases. Now I'm going to walk you through the couple that I pulled out to give you some additional information on. The first was the data quality warnings. So I just wanted to call out, sometimes Tableau, when they walk you through these things, it seems very simple and straightforward and almost like everything should just be included and very easy. Not always the case, so I'll take some time to look into them individually and then let you all know what I think in terms of something, getting them set up. The data quality warnings are really nice because as you see, you get that this like yellow indicator with like little notes. But in order to do this, you also have to have Tableau Catalog enabled in your environment. When you set one of these warnings, the warning is visible to users of this asset and any assets that are downstream from this asset. In addition, if you want to see this alert on your server or Tableau Online, you'll need to make sure it's set to high visibility to see that little yellow triangle. And if you do want to enable these, in terms of access roles, you would need to be either a server or site administrator, or at least have the save capability for whatever asset you're setting the data quality warning up for. At this point, since I know that I mentioned I can't or typically don't get to use the latest releases, does anyone on the call have experience with the data quality warnings new feature yet? Anyone else have any feedback on it? Okay. The next one I wanted to touch on is the context filters. So here I have kind of laid out how you would set it up. So you originally drag the pill onto your filters shelf and then use the drop down to add to context. Once it's on your visual, you'll make sure that you select the all values in context option from the pill. Basically what this does is helps avoid any blank visuals from people selecting things that basically don't apply. It also makes it more impressive because it dynamically updates the values that are available to select. And it also improves overall performance because if you think about it, Tableau is now kind of looking through less records or lines of data as it's filtering because your context has already excluded anything that doesn't match. Anyone have any experience with this feature?
Not directly, but I am excited about it. Those blank vises when you put stuff in context are a real headache.
Yeah, definitely get some unwarranted concerns because people think things are broken. I also added a little note in here to improve the performance of context filters. Again, I'll include this in the recording, but just for your reference, there's definitely some steps that you can take. As I mentioned, it will make it work faster, and just making sure that you follow the right steps so that the queries run correctly when you drop the fields on the shelves and everything. I also added a note here, if your data is heavily indexed, then it might not really do anything in terms of improving your performance. So make sure that you don't just assume it will be an improvement. So just double check before you spend a lot of time putting those in place. I think this is my second to last kind of call out. So don't think he mentioned this on the presentation. So this is about the ability to use a fiscal date. I found this especially helpful. I work with a number of clients, and I have some that are in higher education. As you know, that's not the same as a calendar year. So I'm really excited personally about this particular update. It seems in this case to actually be one of the very straightforward feature releases. So I'm excited to give it a try, and we'll report back once I have access to do so on if I run into any issues. So here are the instructions on how to do it. And then I also wanted to call out where this actually affects your data. So it doesn't affect every aspect of the date data. It mostly just affects these three, meaning the year, the quarter, and the week number. So it doesn't affect the actual date, meaning month, day, year. It doesn't affect the month. It doesn't affect the day. It mostly just affects anything that's kind of relative to when the year starts. So I called those out. And then I also used one of their tables from when the date dimension and the date parts and truncations will be updated as well. So this table pretty clearly outlines how the fiscal year start affects what your new dates will say as you're working with your visualizations. Does anyone else have a use case for the fiscal date update, or is anyone already using it? Okay, if you do, come back and let us know. And then, of course, the #1 request that people ask us for all the time that we can't stand, because the whole point is you're supposed to use the data in the visual that we give you and manipulate it from there. But for everyone who's been bugging us to have the data themselves, as mentioned in the video, you can now download to Excel the crosstab of the data in the same format. This will be a really nice feature since it's been constantly, at least in my experience, it's been a constant request from users who I guess just don't want to use the data in the format we give it to them, but still want the raw data. And then one more time, just those resources that they provided. And again, this will be available in the YouTube recording as well. The new features is the first link that I already mentioned. This is an e-learning link, so you can do the video training that way. And then this is just the general Tableau help link. So if you want to reach out to the support team, that's how you'll do that. You will need to be logged in order to access that portion of the site. And if you need help doing that, just reach out. That concludes my review of the latest feature updates. Does anyone have any questions or any additional feedback? Is anyone working with any new features that were just released that they feel like the group might want to know about? Okay. At this point, I want to pass it over to Ryan, who will pull up our community board where we asked the group to post questions that we could review live on the call.
Great. So back to, this is a good segue, back to the last slide that Andrea was sharing, a fourth source that you can use as a source of help or spitballing ideas or just showing off what you've made to people who are in your community is the Tableau community site. So I'm quickly logging in here to community.tableau.com to show you what it looks like to get to our community page. After I log in, it'll greet me by name. And to get to the Baltimore Tableau user group section, I'm going to click on Get Connected, find user groups. And if I'm already a member of the Baltimore user group, I'm going to see it on the right-hand side here in the My Groups section. And if I'm not, I can use the Search Groups feature up at the top. I can type in Baltimore, and I can join using this button right here. Right now it says Leave because I'm already a member, but I can join it directly there. Or I can go inside, see what's going on, and join it from there. Inside the user group, I did post a prompt a couple weeks ago for this upcoming meeting or the meeting that we're having now, asking folks to post any questions they might have. No limit for the topic that you might have a question of. The main purpose of this is we want to sort of reinvigorate this particular method of talking to you all and use it and make it a useful spot for you and for us, and just reiterate that we all can be resources to each other, and not just depending on Tableau support, unless we're something highly technical that we can't help you with. But lots of things that we can, we're very excited and capable and ready to try and help you with any questions that you do have. If you don't, we do have established relationships with the people who can, and we can hook you up with those people. So some examples, database best practices, Tableau prep, getting started, Tableau and Salesforce integrations, Tableau certification. We've got lots of people who have certification in server, desktop. We can share study tips, things like that. Getting involved in the community. This is one way. We also saw two great examples of community involvement earlier with Makeover Monday and Workout Wednesday. There are several other examples of things that you can jump into, as well as just general resources. So those are things that we encourage you to post about and ask about, and we will be actively monitoring the group. And then one more thing, as Andrea was posting this or giving us this update during the call, I did post a we're looking for speakers message. So feel free to email Andrea directly if you do have interest in presenting during our next meeting, or please respond to this community post and we will be monitoring that and we'll get back to you. And feel free to create your own material as well and post your own questions using the post features up top. Does anyone have any questions about how to navigate or use the community page? Okay, great. And I'll just say this, these resources and these meetings are only as useful and as engaged as we all make them. So the more involvement, the more engagement we get from you all, the better and more useful these meetings will be for everyone. And we want to provide that space for you. So please participate and reach out and we will be there.
Thanks, Ryan. Also a reminder, this is where we will be posting the YouTube recording once we have it available. I'll go ahead, and since we didn't have any live questions, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, and propose our one last question. We have about 40 minutes left in the meeting, but we're probably going to be ending early. So just wanted to give the group an opportunity, if anyone had anything to share, wanted to bravely come off mute, join us over here and share anything about how the switch to remote work has affected your job as it relates to Tableau. And if you have any advice for those of us who are riding that ride along with you, and things that have been helpful to you as we kind of navigate this new normal.
I can go ahead and start. I work in the public health sector, and the switch to completely remote work has definitely impacted our use of Tableau and DataViz. It actually helped in terms of buy-in. We don't have a lot of resources in public health, but given COVID-19, we have had more than we historically have had, especially given the rapid reporting requirements for the governor and for the feds, generally speaking. So we were actually able to procure a core-based server license and start developing content that refreshes on an automatic basis to sort of keep up with those demands. So it's been a positive thing for our Tableau journey.
Thanks, Ryan. Anyone else?
Yep, I think I can go next. So one thing I can say is, like, of course, pre-COVID, my nature of job was like pretty much on the road. I was traveling a lot. And post-COVID, we were able to take care of the business from working from home. So less travel, which means that we were able to focus on our Tableau work, and especially the team collaboration and the activities we could do apart from the work we do for our clients. So I'm very proud of the work I think the team was able to do. So not just the dashboard development, we have done a lot of automation work, which has helped our clients and getting exposed to Tableau Prep. How does Tableau Online work? So those are the things that we always want to spend time on, or actually ask my resources to get familiarized and equip themselves with that knowledge. So this was always like, okay, it's a vision, we want to do it, but we don't know when we will get time to do it. But this COVID and the extra time or no travel allowed us to meet those milestones. So I would say, so work and Tableau wise, I think the team, including me, it definitely leveled up our skills and knowledge in Tableau. Especially we being a service company, we end up doing a lot of work for our clients. So we are proud that any problem that comes in front of us related to Tableau, we are able to come up with a solution. And I think this collaboration and the work we did in the last 5-6 months really played a role there.
Awesome, thank you. As I mentioned, we still have a lot of minutes before our meeting is over. Is there anyone else that wanted to share?
I'll mention one item briefly where my workplace has been impacted. It is the importance of leveraging like virtual workstations and other methods of kind of spanning the the gap between the visualization development environment and the data. Particularly if you're working with large data sets, sometimes the VPN connections and home internet connections can be kind of a bottleneck. So one solution we've found is hosting Tableau Desktop and kind of creating these virtual Viz development workstations, so that we can have generally those workstations are hosted in a cloud environment that has really good connections to the internet or connections directly to our data backend. So kind of helps with that workflow issue that normally I think when telework was sporadic, you would maybe put up with some slow connections, slow refreshes, et cetera. That's tough for day in, day out.
So Aaron, if I understand it right, the Tableau Desktop is installed on AWS workspace or something like that?
Yeah, like an EC2 workstation on a Windows server. So you basically are you're doing your Viz development inside a virtual window via remote desktop. So it gets a little, there's sometimes a little bit of latency. Sometimes the graphics have to be optimized, but it's a lot easier to repaint a screen through typical internet connection than it is to move, terabytes of data if you have a large data set. So the trade-off is usually beneficial.
That's a great example. Thank you for sharing.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay. I will end the meeting slightly early. Again, we're looking for speakers for our December meeting. If you're interested in speaking in general and you have no idea what to talk about, you're still more than welcome to reach out and we will walk you through how to get something set up. Thanks again to everyone for attending. And as always, please send us your feedback and we will hope to see you again in December. Thanks so much. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Yep.